Hello, hello, and welcome to Death Cafe with me, your Latinx bruja, Pastel Supernova. This is where I do my part to normalize heart-led conversations about death, dying, and loss. I'll be sharing personal journeys and conversing with insightful minds about everything related to the inevitable. And hey, guess what? I am now a certified death doula and grief coach. I am. Over the past few weeks, I finally completed my end of life doula certification, and I've got a great lineup of episodes for you. Today, you're going to meet Glenna Sandy. Glenna is a very cool woman thriving in Toronto with a great career as an accomplished hairstylist. And like many of us, she has also been overwhelmed by grief many times. In this conversation, she puts herself right on the table and shares what it's been like for her since the loss of her mother. Good
How
morning.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for joining. Let's start with you introducing yourself to our listeners.
So my name is Glenna Sandy. I am a beauty professional in Toronto. I enjoy learning different things outside of work. Right now, I'm doing roller skating, or I'm going to try and get back into that. I want to pick up the piano, and I want to travel some this year. I have a pretty great career. I don't like leading with that because I feel like people are more than their job. But yeah, I've had a pretty successful career and always interested in working on future projects and collaborating with other brands and like TV and film stuff and just community as well. I'm in my 40s and I experienced a loss last year, which we'll talk about. Sorry, not last year. I always forget what year we're in. Yeah, so I lost my mom in July of 2023,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which still feels like pretty fresh at times, even though it's already been a year and a half, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. How were the holidays for you?
Uh, the holidays were the holidays were interesting just because like that was really her holiday. And so, she would decorate the house. Well, her and my dad would decorate their house. There'd be a lot of cooking. She's like the best cook. Oh my God. I wish I had some of those skills. But yeah, she was a really good cook and she would bake bread and she would do like extras that we liked. So like not having her around for Christmas has been tough the last two. But this year, one of our aunts hosted us at her place. So my dad and my sibling and another cousin were at my aunt's for Christmas, and we had lunch together. And it was pretty tough, but it was good to be around family.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think in those moments you kind of realize it's probably like just not going to be the same. It's
No.
just gonna Yeah, so it's just gonna be a little bit different each time.
Yeah. Yeah. Did anyone try to pick up the reins on like things that she would do, like the any of the special dishes, or did everybody just add in their new magic?
I feel like people just added in their new magic, and
Okay.
my aunt's like a pretty good host, so like she asked us what we'd like to eat because like I have like a vegetarian vegan diet, and my sibling is pescatarian, and then my dad eats everything. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, she was pretty good about like just asking us. um and like the food was good, it's just I just don't know how to say it, it's just not the same. um yeah,
I
it
know
was just
exactly
really,
what you mean.
yeah, it just wasn't the same. And like our mom would make a dish called ackee and saltfish you
Yes.
know it was so good. She would bake bread, like the house would smell like bread. She got a lot out of cooking because she knew she was a really good cook, and she knew, no one could talk to her about her skills or
Right.
anything
This was her
like
mic
that.
drop.
Yeah, basically. And like she had a way of like cooking like, I don't know, like 8 dishes, and like the food is all hot at the same time. Like this is magic to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a great cook, so I don't even know how that happens.
When someone goes, it's a whole spiritual experience that you're missing out on when mealtime comes around.
Yeah, they just have like a certain pizzazz. It can't be
Yes.
duplicated, unfortunately. So, but I was sad, but I tried to like keep it together. So I didn't schedule it, but like in the morning, I cried before lunch. And
Hmm.
then I cried when I got home from lunch. So it was kind of like, it was a sad day. And I just felt like, and maybe it was the same for everyone, but no one was really talking about it. And
Okay.
yeah, I just sort of felt like everyone was just sort of, not that people have moved on, because I feel like we're all sad, but it just felt like, like we're all just carrying on. And I didn't like that. So, but that was just my feeling on it. But maybe everyone was feeling the same way. But we're not like a family who expresses themselves to each other.
Okay.
And so, like, I wouldn't even know how they were, feeling. And like, my dad is a typical Caribbean man. And so,
Hmm.
even if you asked him like, how are you feeling about certain things, he'd just say, I'm good, I'm okay.
Right.
So
Yeah. Avoidant.
yeah, so I'm just like, well, you couldn't be. I mean, if you are, that's great, but these are the same answers he offered up quite early on, and I was like, there's no way you're good and okay. But he
Yeah.
didn't like obviously want to get into his feelings. But then it's like, how could I expect that of him at this point? He's like in his early 70s, and he's never been an expressive person, as far as I could tell. So, like, why would that change all of a sudden now, right? So, these are like some of the little things that um I've just had to sort of like face myself, I guess, when it comes to like how people deal with their emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because everyone's navigating something very large, and just like we have love languages, you've heard of those?
Mhm.
The love language. I studied with somebody who created the languages of sorrow,
Okay. Mhm.
and it's about identifying and accessing other people's languages. So for an avoidant person, or the strong one, the one who's in a resilient role and has kind of locked themselves into the I can't be anything other than okay type of role. Uh,
Mhm.
there are activities and things that you can present and see if there's a bite. Walking and talking, or any type of conversation that doesn't include looking in the eye. Like it might be like a video game because you're completely immersed in something else. And so the stress of really giving over your vulnerability isn't as high. And
Okay.
then the thoughts could be shared, but you're both still doing another task. It feels less invasive to the person who's really struggling to keep it together. There are 7 languages of sorrow, and they're really just all different artistic expressions. It's cool to be in a room and try to access those, but when you don't have the tools, you're like, right. So are we not talking? We're not talking. Okay.
Yeah. I haven't heard of those 7, what is it? The 7
The
rules of
seven
sorrow?
languages of sorrow.
Mhm.
The avoidant one, that's clear as day. And then there are people who connect with words more, the lyrics or the poetry or music, like a sonic storyline will help some people to navigate. So that's why you're like, hey, I made a playlist that reminds me of mom. And you can share that and start to access somebody's vulnerability a little bit more that way. Or and it's not that you're trying to access vulnerability, but it helps certain people open up, you
Yeah.
know? Other people are like movers and shakers. So you want to go hiking? You want to play ball? Like, is this turning into huge amounts of fuel that you need to go burn? And then, because I'm not sure about your experience, but I certainly uh, got filled with tons of rage, like a few years worth of rage in me. And if I didn't go sweat, like have a really hard workout or dance all night, I could throw venom with my words at anybody in my way.
Oh my gosh, okay. Watch out.
So yeah, it was dangerous, but I recognize that in myself. And luckily I was dancing full time. So it was, easier for me to really get that out, but I could tell if I wasn't physical, here we go. So there are people that use physicality. Other people are seekers. They turn to spirit. They start asking philosophical questions. They might feel disenfranchised by God or whatever belief they have at the time and have to go through a journey to be lost in it, question everything, and then reach an answer. And that can be the rest of the life for a journey. It could be a few months. It really depends, but it gives some people solace to meditate or do anything that has to connect more with spirit and the realms that we don't see.
Wow. I hadn't even really like thought of it. I think it's like, I guess maybe as you're going through it, you sort of just pick up what works for you.
Hmm.
And I had no idea it fell into um like this category. That's really cool. I think for me, I ended up getting a therapist
Mm,
uh once my mom was diagnosed. So that was useful to me because initially I was just so mad because like she had lung cancer, it was stage 4. I just felt like her doctors at the time weren't good. Like I just felt like things should have been caught earlier because like I had an issue with that office. So after this, I was like, hey, like maybe you guys should change your doctor, your family doctor as well. I feel like they're not the best. I feel like they miss things. But my parents, I don't know, they're so loyal and committed. I don't know if it's like an immigrant thing, but like they didn't want to change. I think changing out like your doctors is seen as like a big thing for some reason for them. So this is part of why I was just so upset, you know. And also my mom didn't smoke or drink. She ate well, but cancer, I don't know, I have my own beliefs around cancer and how it's developed. You can be exposed to things, it's emotion. I believe like certain diseases are tied to emotion as
yeah.
well. So it could have been like anything really. And so I was just so angry because I was like, she didn't smoke, she didn't do this, she didn't do that. Why is this happening?
Hmm.
So the therapist was a great help. And also, I had turned to you during that time as well. And you were very helpful during that time as well. So, pretty grateful for you and the therapist. And then I actually did, what did I do? After she passed, I did, oh my God, it was a different therapy, sound therapy.
Oh,
And
yes, sound bath.
she had like that kind of music sort of playing in the background, but she had used like a fork,
Aha.
like like yeah, like the was it fine tuning fork or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so I hadn't like experienced that before, and I was pretty open to it. I'm open to like different things. And so I was
Mhm.
like, well, what could it hurt to try? Because I'd already done like the talk therapy for almost a year. And
Yep.
I was like, I think I'm talked out. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I was like, okay, sometimes you're just talking, it's too much talking. And sometimes it's good to try another method. And I felt like the sound therapy, I was able to get like a really good release in the 3 sessions that I had. So yeah, so that was that part of how I was feeling initially, and then through therapy and talking to you, and and I think by speaking to you too, I learned that it's my mom's journey. How she wants to handle it is totally like up to her. uh
Yeah, that's a tough one for everyone who's watching someone get sick.
yeah, because I was like, oh, I have all these great ideas, but she's not interested in them.
Yeah.
So like that initially I struggled with so bad. So that was why I initially got the therapist. And so
Mhm.
she helped me like work through that. So, and then toward the end, my mom was interested in these things I had suggested
Yep.
initially, which was also hard
Yeah.
because not to say like it was too late, but kinda. So, but because of the therapy and, the strength that you guys put in me, I just felt like I was able to just handle like that stuff a lot better than I thought.
Mhm.
And so like just like looking back now I could be like, yeah, I think that was a very hard time, but we just did our best, I think. So,
That's the best gift you could give yourself is doing your best because it's a struggle when you're the most present, but for people who avoid or walk away or choose to get into their anger, petty things will come up around death because they'd rather be immersed in something petty than the real deal because the real deal is such a heavy load. And people who are sick and dying really can tell when there's BS in the room or if someone's being fake. The same way that when you're grieving or stressed and in an environment that doesn't have to do with what's, burdening you, uh, there are certain conversations that you can't tolerate or certain things that you just don't have time for, or you're like, nope, this doesn't matter. It never did. You really start to get clear. So the person who's actually going through uh, life limiting diagnosis, imagine where they're at with the BS. So if you're real, even if you're contradictory, it's authentic.
that's true. I think I think you're right. Uh I think I don't know about my sibling or my dad, but I feel like yeah, maybe we were able to sort of see how people were being, like especially with like one of my mom's friends. They would come around and we just thought the vibe was really off. And like
Oh.
she yeah, and she like wanted us to cater to her.
Mhm.
It was weird. Like she's just a visitor. And yeah, it was just really strange. We actually set it up so that she was no longer visiting toward the end,
Yeah,
just because like we didn't like the energy that she was giving out. We were pretty good about that.
that's wonderful. Bravo.
Yeah.
Do you and your family have any cultural traditions for grief and loss or this transition of life?
I think it's 40 nights after the person passes. You
Yep.
like light candles and you pray, and I'm probably messing this up, but yeah, it's 40 nights after the person dies. You light candles and you pray for their I believe for their passage into the next realm.
Okay.
Uh because I think it's believed that maybe they're floating around,
Hmm.
uh and then you doing that helps them maybe cross over to the other side. Don't
Right.
quote me on um
Oh, you've been quoted.
I know, right? I'm on the show. Yeah, I'm really the worst for keeping up with tradition, but maybe that's something I can like improve on. But like, I'm not religious, and like, I don't, there's a lot of things I don't do, but then there's other things I do, right? So it's like, my mom loved tea. So every once in a while, like, I'll make 2 cups of tea. And so one will
Mhm.
be for me and one will be for her. Like some may see that as like a waste, but
No.
for me, that's like something important. I should do it more often, to be honest. I haven't done it in a while, but yeah, she was a big tea drinker. So I I would do that once in a while. And also something that we do is sometimes we'll leave food out, like a small like we'll put food on a saucer
Yep.
and we'll say, "Oh, this is for this person, or this is for those that have passed."
Hmm.
And that's something that we do as well.
As an offering.
Yes, as an offering. Yes, yeah, that's the right. I'm like, what is that called? Yeah, an offering.
Yeah, a
um,
little gift.
yeah. So
Wh-
when I was a
What
kid, like watching this, I was like, this is a waste. But now I get it.
a child's mind is very different,
Yeah.
especially if people aren't explaining things, exactly to you.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh man, like this is crazy. Why are we just dashing food on a saucer for dead people? Like I don't get it. Um but now I understand like the symbolism, and I believe like I think it was even you I believe you said like it keeps
Yeah.
them connected to us. Yeah.
Some tough women in my background, so I'll usually, if I pour something out for them and start meditating on it, then some strong feminist views come around and give me, my mind wanders into different places, and I know that they're sending me messages, action plans. They're like, listen, go this way, do this other thing, focus on this. And then I feel like the offering is the way to get them to the table. Give somebody something nice before you start asking for favors, that type of thing.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that sense. That makes sense. Okay.
Like, Mom, I got you your nice rum. She'll be like, okay, I'm listening.
You know. Man, I feel like a bad kid even in like the afterlife. I'm like a bad kid.
No, I feel you should just trust your instincts. Whenever you want to do something, do it. I have my things that are put in place, and certain traditions are set, and I think they're good guidelines. But when it comes to this grieving, loss, I mean, just life in general, everything is so unique. Everybody's experience is overall the same, but so different and so nuanced that if you decide A, B, or C and do that and no one's ever heard of it, or you don't tell anybody, or whatever, if it brings you what you need, then that is it. That's the magic, is just trusting your gut and really being with whatever's coming up. That's the biggest challenge, and how you navigate through that in the moment is for you to decide. It's your life. In terms of this, like, if you show respect once a week and someone else shows respect once a year, that doesn't discount the respect. It's there.
That's true. That's true.
In a
That,
time of grief, there's no need to add guilt.
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Girl, you're good. You're good. May I
Oh,
ask you what your mother's name was?
it was Merle.
Merle. I love that name.
Yes. Merle, Elise, Sandy.
That's vintage.
Yeah, it's yeah, I guess people aren't really named Merle anymore. Um,
I've only heard of a Merle in a book.
yeah. And even the way she spelled it too is Merle. So sometimes people would get it wrong, like they call her Merle, and I'm like, no, 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 it's just Merle. But yeah, that was her name. That was her name.
I was gonna ask, what's it like when you hear somebody else say that name, but do you ever hear her name again?
Never. Never.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Uh I think even though it's been like actually I don't think a year and a half is a long time now that I really
Not
think
at all.
about it, but I'd probably like break down. Who knows, right? I think with
Yeah.
it's so unpredictable, like anything really that pops up has the potential to make me like react, you know? So
Of course.
I I don't hear her name. I only called her mom, right? So, but yeah, I think if more people were named Merle and I heard it more often, I would be like more sad. I feel like I don't know why, but yeah, I just feel like it would just come up more maybe.
Yeah. Did she have any sonic cues of when she was coming in a room? Like, does she have a specific rhythm in her walk? Like, could you recognize her coming before seeing her or her saying anything?
Uh I feel like I don't want to say a heavy walk, but I guess, right? I don't know if it's like that or the house was just old.
Hmm.
uh, But like even if you're on the same floor and like she came home, like she's home. It's just her pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like her pace, the weight of her steps.
Hmm.
She didn't really walk slow. Like she walked with purpose, whatever that means.
Things to do.
Things to do, yes, things to do.
Do you walk like her?
Uh, I don't think so. I feel like I have a slower pace,
Mm.
and I think I think I try to walk slow on purpose.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, cuz like everything is so rushed. So I do take my time unless I'm like in a rush. Society, like everything is so go 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 and I just don't want to be like caught up in that. Yeah.
I like that rebellion.
My own my own private rebellion.
Well,
Just
yeah,
a slow
because
walk.
that I'm thinking about the your adrenal gland. Like we access our stressors way more than we need to all the time. The hustle life keeps you on that brrr rhythm all the time
Yeah.
to actively say, not today, not now. No, I don't. And you're choosing. It's
Yeah.
actually so good for your health. When is your mom's birthday?
So she's an Aquarius, February 3rd.
Okay, so it's coming up.
Yes, yeah, next month. I don't know. I just feel like it's everything is one thing after the other. It was what was it? Thanksgiving, Christmas, her birthday, Mother's Day, and then we do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and like at all these things, she would cook
Okay.
and the house would smell a certain way and all that stuff, right? I don't know. It's like you can't, not that you want to forget the person, obviously, but it's like I feel like you don't get to catch a break.
Right.
And then I feel like through this whole thing, sometimes people don't know how to act around me with regard to grief, or like they'll just
Mhm.
like avoid it altogether, or like um I don't know, like, how are your holidays? Like they'll ask me that like mid-January, you know?
Mm.
But these are not close friends. These are just people I know, but because they don't want to really, I don't even know why they bothered to ask, um but yeah, it's kind of like I've just noticed that some people don't know how to speak about it if they do have a question for me about how I'm actually feeling, not having her around
Mhm.
physically. So like that's been interesting to watch too. So like through this whole thing is like you have to navigate yourself, but also like figure out what the heck is going on with people around you too. And
Yeah.
I just feel like, that part can be like so exhausting. Uh
I was gonna
yeah.
ask, do you want people to ask you, like, are you okay with feeling whatever you're feeling in the moment in front of people?
Uh yeah, I feel like it probably depends on who's asking me. Like, I don't know, like sometimes I'm really open to sharing, and then other times I'm just like, I don't want to talk about this. So I'll just say, oh, it's been tough, but day by day. Like if I say that, that means I really don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Um, but because then I can feel that I'm gonna like break down or something, and I
Right.
don't like that in front of just anyone. Um, but yeah, especially like when it was more fresh in 2023, I would just shut certain things down because I would be working and then I would just start crying, and then I'd have to like excuse myself and go use the washroom.
Yeah, yeah.
And so my clients are pretty cool, and so they understood, but I don't know, I just couldn't be doing that all the time. And yeah, so
Mhm. I just know so many people that, like you've noticed, clock these things, and then on top of trying to quote unquote manage their own gigantic and incredibly important feelings, are also babysitting the people around them. Suddenly they're taking care of their like all these other feelings that
yeah.
have nothing to do with them, and they're catering the room.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like it's not my, like, I'm the one, like we're the ones going through the grief. It's not our job to make sure you're good with me experiencing grief. I had one friend, she had a breakup, and I just felt like, that happened around the same time my mom had passed, and I just felt like I was making sure she was good
Yeah.
a lot of the time, when it's really like, well, you just broke up with someone. I lost my mom. Like, this is, and it's not like the suffering Olympics, but
They
if
are
there was,
very different.
yeah. So I was just, and then you sort of just watch things as they progress. And so eventually, like, we're just not friends anymore. I don't think she's a bad person. I just think we're different, and I don't think we match up anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been like a learning of like the people around me as well. I'm just like, oh man, like this is a lot. Like, maybe I didn't want to learn this about you. Maybe I liked how it was before, but now I'm like being enlightened, and I'm learning these things about you. I'm learning these things about this other person. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I like it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I
and
definitely went
yeah.
through a filter.
Oh, okay.
Similar.
Yeah.
When you're going through something huge and you're like, who's here? Who's offering up something compassionate? Who's not?
Yeah, and it's like not all negative, but then you also saw who was also like really there for you, which was also like heartwarming too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think I lost like it was definitely like a couple of friends after that. A few months after, I was just like, oh, like one of them, I think she just like checked out. I don't know. They kind of just disappeared and then sent me like a random Merry Christmas text.
Oh,
And I was, oh no, like I can't do this. Yeah, so it was a lot of learning during that time. And I guess still, right? Still,
forever.
yes, forever.
I know that my experience as I get older and my mom lived she got to be a senior, so I have that uh, as I work through life and my own maturity and my own things. I think about my experience of her when she was the age I am now. I just start to say like see myself in her shoes,
Mhm.
or at least in some kind of more peer group uh, level, and I learn from her still, knowing what I know now, and think about, okay, at this age you were going through all these different things, and you had me and whatever. So it's interesting. I'm unpacking, and it's not always painful. Most of the time it's just like, oh, okay. So it's cool that the lessons are still being provided.
Mhm.
And so that's comforting. But
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, there are times where I asked you about the birthdays because I'll never forget my mom's birthday, but I remember there was one year that her anniversary of death passed by and I didn't even notice until
Oh,
her birthday.
oh,
And I was like, what is this, how it goes? Are you just gone? Do I just forget about you? Like, I was so confused as to why it had no print on me that one year, and I had to be okay with it because that's what happened, but just like wondering, like, are my feelings gone? Where am I with this? Where are you? Why aren't you here? Why didn't you remind me? These types of things.
right.
But the next year I remembered. And so it's just literally a new wave every day.
That's really interesting. Like our mom was a big like numbers person. She'd like play the lotto like religiously. And so like her birthday's February 3rd, and then she also passed July 3rd.
Okay.
I don't know what that means or anything, but I was just like I think we all thought, "Oh wow, like that's really we I think we all thought it was interesting but didn't know why." So I think it would be hard for us to forget because it's like it's the same number.
Yeah,
And like I don't know if your mom's birthday is close to when she passed. Like I don't know.
exactly 1 month before her birthday.
Oh, oh my
Yeah,
god.
it
Oh,
had a specific number, but
okay.
yeah. She
Well, what?
died on the 8th of February.
Ah, and then her birthday's like March 8th.
International Women's Day.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's like we were like the
Yep.
same numbers. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, she does come from a strong line. You do come from a strong line of women. That's cool.
Strong women.
Well, don't feel so bad. It's not like it was months. It was like one. It was 1 month.
It was 1 month, yeah. But sometimes I fear, no, I don't fear, but sometimes just these thoughts come around where is this it? Is this what it's going to be like? There are moments where parts of me wonder if something is permanent, and whatever that is. And then I remember absolutely nothing is permanent. And that was my mom's like mantra, was everything changes constantly. She said, nothing is eternal. That's what she would say. And when I
Mm,
was a little kid, it would make me so angry because that to me felt like the best things will go away, but also the worst things will go away. So I I guess that is a moment to commune with her, even in my fear of losing her. Sometimes I miss her so much that it's almost comforting to be in that pain. And then there are other times where I realize, oh, I haven't really spoken to you or connected with you in a while. And I process that. Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it makes me feel like, oh, I should do that. I don't want to lose you. And again, the reminder of like, I can't lose you. It's absolutely impossible. You're literally in my DNA. So we're here
Yeah.
together.
mean, I think most people know, like, because I've posted, so, like, I look very similar to my mom.
You do.
So, like, sometimes, like, I don't know, sometimes it depends maybe how my face looks or, like, maybe my makeup or something. I'm like, "Oh, wow, I look like mom today. I really look like her today." And then I
Mm.
just smile, and then, like, I carry on. So, like, I feel like those little things are nice. Like, do you look like your mom too?
I am the spitting image of my father, but
Okay.
when after she died,
Mhm.
uh people started to see pictures of her, would see her and would say, "Oh, is," they would confuse us. And that
Oh,
felt like the biggest compliment because I've never seen it. It's always been very like when you see me and my dad together, you're like, whoa, mini me. But
right.
it's cool that her energy is shining out. And so that, like you, is like, oh, okay, awesome. That's cute.
No,
She's here.
those things are cool. Like, those are like those little moments you can like really like appreciate because you're like, oh, they're still here in us.
Hmm.
And so like I don't have like a dining table in my apartment. So I end up eating in the living room just off of the coffee table.
Yep.
And like she had a way where she sat where she would sort of like lean over. Like,
Hmm.
her would be all the way pushed back in the couch, but
Hmm.
then she, like, leaned over and eating, and sometimes I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm sitting just like my mom."
Yes.
And I was like, "Jesus Christ, like, we don't even know we're doing this stuff?"
Hmm.
But yeah, those I think those small moments are nice because you're like, "Oh yeah, they're in us, they're with us, they're here." Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My coughs and sneezes are like my mom's.
Hey.
So things that also annoyed me about her, like, why you gotta be so loud? I realized, oh my God. Oh no. You
You have
cursed me.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, those things can even make you laugh after you sneeze too, right?
Yeah.
Y I think if I'm having, like, a sneezing fit, like, not just, like, 1 or 2, but, like, a lot, then I'm like, "I think she sneezed like this." And I'm just like, "Jesus," you know?
Yeah.
So, they're still there, and they're always gonna be there. Whenever I catch myself feeling, like, super sad, I just remember, like, she was sick, she was in pain, and now she's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that kinda, like, brings me back, and then I'm just like, "Man, like, Earth is ghetto." Like, she's definitely, like, doing better wherever she is.
Yeah. Yeah. When I'm missing someone, I want to call them back. So I think of praying or, meditating on something and with an offering is
Okay.
slightly different, but there are moments where I'm like, there's a neediness, there's a cling in me and I want to call them back. And that's when I stop myself because I'm like, really? Do you want to call them back? Because you don't like it here either right now. So why are you trying to bring someone into your misery?
I know, honestly, and not to sound morbid, but it's not that I wanna die too, but I'm just like it is ghetto and can be quite trash here. And like, like I know we're supposed to like learn like while we're here,
Yep.
but I don't know how you feel, but I feel after experiencing certain things in life, I'm like, I'm done with this learning thing. Like, I don't know. I don't want to learn any more like hard lessons. I just want to post a little bit.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
my
I
god.
feel you. Listen, I am the most I've told you before, I don't express it too much publicly, but I am emo. I am so emo. I feel all the things. I get existential and like, really get into my Edgar Allan Poe and just like the struggle. But uh then I know it's time for something outrageous and silly. It's like those are the moments where it's okay, it's time to celebrate. It's time to go like I'll just embody it a little bit more until I can laugh about it. Like this is where things like art, music, burlesque, crass, grimy humor really brings me back to like, yeah, everything is kind of nuts, but so am I, and that it's not all nuts bad. It's, just to bring a little balance. Part of personal healing and growth, the reason it takes so long is because you got to take breaks. You have to give yourself some relief.
Yeah. And rest, I guess, right? Rest is in there.
Yeah, rest, play, laughter. It's part of the medicine. And it helps just let whatever lesson you took in simmer and really take effect. Because just because we suddenly know something new about ourselves doesn't mean everything is fixed. Like now that you've like re-greased the machine, it's got to start working. And that it might take a while for all the cogs to get lubricated and really show you the power of that new glow up.
That's true. That's true.
Growing expands your ability to celebrate. In the meantime, you may as well be having a laugh and sharing. And the more you raise the frequency that way, the more you can, if you choose, go through the next lesson with a little ease and grace, a little bit more fortification, perhaps a new system, new friends, or a new group, or, you know, the, we need it all. We need it all, but the rest is important.
I find sometimes I'll like if I'm frustrated with anyone close to me, like family wise, I'll just throw out there, "Mom, you left me here with these crazy people. Why?" And just like start laughing, you know?
Yes.
And I have like a couple of pictures of her in my living room. And I don't look at them every day, but I look at them like probably every other day. And I like that feels good to me
Yeah.
having those there. And I think I was at the cemetery before like the snowfall, so I think maybe November. I feel like I may have gone in November or October before it got like really cold, and I just like
Hmm.
dropped some roses.
Hmm.
But I got out of there that day. The cemetery was giving weird vibes. I know that just sounds ridiculous, but
No,
I don't
not at all.
I felt like I was in a scary movie. I was like, "Let me get out of here." Uh, I was like, "Mom, I
This is
gotta go."
not how I
I
go.
I was like I was like speaking to the tombstone and I don't really believe she's there, but I was just speaking over her tombstone and I was like, "Mom, it's getting dark. You know how it is. I gotta go. Like it's daylight saving times and I gotta run. I gotta run." So I'm sure she understood. Like just integrating just a little bit of humor because like my mom was a funny person
Yeah.
and like we we have like we got jokes kind of the same way, and we like laughed at things the same way.
Mhm.
And like sometimes I'd go to her with like some interesting things that would happen either with friends or with clients, and she'll like just listen to you, and then
Yep.
she'll say like a sentence at the end, and it just makes you laugh. Something like, "Oh, you couldn't see that one coming, Glenna," like, and then we would just burst out laughing, you
Yep.
know?
Wise
So,
women speak.
yeah, just one sentence.
Yeah. My mom
But
had the best way of being shady. And if I'm like processing something and then she'll just throw down a little sentence, I'll rehear something in my head. And yeah, it's jokes. After that, it's just like, okay. Got you, got you.
the moms know.
They do. They do. And we're lucky to have had some moms that shared that knowledge.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Do you think you'll do something for her birthday this year?
I don't know. I feel like I should. At minimum, at least we'll have a tea together
Yeah.
in the morning. I haven't done like the whole offering thing where you leave the food out.
Hmm.
Like I haven't done that personally. I know like my aunt has done that, but maybe something like that. I think the tea is good because I went on a trip a few months after she passed. I went to St. Lucia for a week,
Yeah.
and the last night of that trip, I got like two teas, and I know when I ordered the 2 teas, they were like, why is she ordering 2?" 'Cause it was a solo trip.
Hmm.
How it is on a resort, like, they know you, you've been there for the week, you know?
Yeah.
So I took the 2 teas, and then I found a secluded area, and I just sat there. I sat in one chair, had the tea in front of me, and then I put the other tea in front of the other chair, and that was really nice, and I felt, like, super calm in that
Hmm.
moment. And yeah, I feel like I should do something because, like, when was it? I mean, it might have been like last week or the week before. I felt like I heard her coughing
Uh-huh.
while I was in the shower, and it frightened me. Like, like it made me draw the curtain, and I was scared. Obviously, like I'm naked, I'm wet now, and like I'm just a little cold. Like I was like, it just sounded so crisp and
Hmm.
like crystal clear, and I was just shaking for the rest of the night because that was the night shower. So I'm like, yeah, maybe I should do something for her birthday as a
Yes,
speaking to, you know.
I would say so. When the spirit of my mom gets loud, and sometimes she does, I'm like, oh, okay, you want some rum? No problem. I just boop, 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 there you are.
Yeah, because they're calling out, you know.
Hmm.
Oh my
And then you
goodness.
wonder, like, I've called you, so, but then now it's too real. Now it's too real.
I know, it's like, oh no, that's not what I meant. Don't scare me.
I want to ask you one more question.
Yeah.
And this could be for your mom, pertaining to your mom, or not at all. At this moment, do you have any last words for anybody who has passed, or even
Whatever life.
words, anything you want, any words you would like to share?
I'd like to say honor yourself, honor the person, but most, you know, just live your life to the like best of your ability. Like don't put too much pressure on yourself. For I think for everyone it's different. For me, so I've always been active, but not consistently, but I feel after she passed, like I ended up getting into Pilates and just being more active again. And I felt like that was really useful for me. And
Mhm.
so, you know, I've been able to share that with people on my social media. And sometimes, sometimes we feel like maybe we're oversharing on social media, but then I get DMs about, how grateful they are that I shared whatever it was I shared because they experienced something similar,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so um like for me, I've been saying lately also like practice makes better. I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe in like perfection or anything like that, and especially with grief. Like you really have to just go through it however it is you're going through it. And I think something that will be useful to me is that I'm going to be writing an ebook
That's
on
exciting.
yeah, so I am going to be writing an ebook. I just need to start. But it'll just be me sharing what I found useful for like up until now and what I plan to do going ahead. And also like it's okay if those plans change too, right? So
Yeah. Good for
yeah, so
you.
yeah, because I feel like I'm a creative person and I feel like just writing things out and just putting it out there, maybe I can like reach more people
Yeah.
outside of my network as well. And hopefully like it offers some value to somebody. So
I love
yeah.
that.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's like a passion project. It shouldn't take me long to do, and I'll share it with you once it's done. But yeah, so I'm excited about doing that very soon. So yeah.
I'm excited for you. I'm gonna keep tabs on that. Ask you some more questions after.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Thank you so much for sharing today. I really appreciate it. You're so open-hearted and generous with your time and your stories about your mom.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate the invite. It was great speaking with you as always. And hopefully, like this session helps a lot of your listeners.
Here's hoping.
And if you can, like, maybe wave a magic wand and have me sound less congested, that
I like keeping it real. And there it is. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to get in touch regarding grief coaching and other end of life doula services that I now offer, visit deathdoulapastel.com. Tune in to live recordings on the Stereo platform where you can join me during the open forum. And please contact me with your stories and topics for discussion at info@pastelsupernova.com or on IG at deathdoulapastel. Please rate, review, and tell your friends. It really means a lot. And until next time, blessings and respect.